Welcome to Biz Wire. I'm Joseph Nordstrom in Beijing. U.S. President Barack Obama recently announced actions the White House will take to mitigate the effects of a changing climate. About a third of Obama's climate plan is dedicated to international engagement, which means more than anywhere else, China. Convincing China, as well as fast-growing developing economies like India, to limit their emissions is as crucial to combating global warming at this point as convincing the developed world to wean itself off of fossil fuels. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, China, where rapid economic growth has been largely powered by coal, accounted for more than a quarter of worldwide emissions in 2011, with the U.S. responsible for about 17%. And while U.S. emissions have fallen since 2005, China's are still increasing right along with its economic output. The Rhodium Group estimates emissions in China were up by roughly 3.4% last year, though emissions growth is slowing. China has long argued, with much justification, that developing countries should be given more leeway on greenhouse gases than the wealthy nations of Europe and North America that have been burning fossil fuels on a large scale for so much longer. Leaders in China are aware of and worried about the problems of both toxic air pollution and the effects climate change could have on farm production and on its coastal areas. There are no climate change skeptics to speak of in China, and there is widespread agreement that temperatures are getting higher because of human activity. Beijing is addressing the issue and has already committed to cutting the carbon intensity of China's economy, which is measured as the amount of CO2 emitted per dollar of output. Beijing's stated goal is to cut carbon intensity by 17% by 2020 and has launched an experimental cap-and-trade pilot program in the industrial hub of Shenzhen, which will then expand to other cities. Campaigners said although the exchange will not immediately lead to a big cut in China's emissions of greenhouse gases, it does still represent a statement of intent by Beijing. For a national cap-and-trade program to work, China also eventually needs to set a national limit on emissions and apply it to individual industries and provinces. Analysts say realistically it could be 2025 before such a cap could be established. And although China emits more carbon emissions than any other country, it also leads the world in renewable energy. According to Pew Charitable Trust, China attracted $65 billion in clean energy investment in 2012, 30% of all renewable investment in the world's top 20 economies. While this looks like and is indeed progress, it's not enough. China's emissions increased by 300 million tons last year, which is the lowest growth the country has seen in a decade, but it more than offsets the progress made in the U.S., where a shaky economy and increased efficiency measures helped reduce emissions by 200 million metric tons. Stories in the Financial Times and the Independent suggested the government would be ready to commit to a nationwide cap on carbon by 2016, but its top climate negotiator Su Wei quickly wrote off the reports. Su has said previously that China's emissions will continue to rise until its per capita gross domestic product is 5 times larger than it is today, which is hopefully more negotiating tactic than official policy. Obama offered a preview of his climate diplomacy earlier this month when he met with Chinese President Xi Jinping in California. The two leaders agreed to cut the use of hydrofluorocarbons, a major greenhouse gas emitter used in household products. Environmentalists praised the agreement as a small but important and tangible goal shared between the world's two biggest polluters, but more must be done on both sides of the Pacific to mitigate the worst effects of a changing climate. You're watching Biz Wire on the Blue Ocean Network. Stay tuned for more in Economic Insight.